Okay, folks, this is Babbaginator. Trying an experiment here tonight.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Okay, so let's see, what time is it? It's almost nighttime. Storm is blowing. A bunch of crackers. Let's see, how are we doing here? Tried an experiment with I'm almost also streaming to Discord tonight. See what happens. I'm trying to do multiple streams at the same time. Okay. The activity feed's not working. Okay, there it is. There we go. Okay, so here we are. I'm Babbaginator. I am a TLD streamer based in Vancouver, BC, and we're currently doing a challenge called Luck of the Draw, where basically we draw a card every time we enter a new region, or we spawn at the start of a run. And that card, the number tells us the amount, the suit tells us the nature of the challenge for that particular region. So let's say a 5 of diamonds means we have to spend a minimum of 5 days there. A 10 of clubs means we have to harvest or gather 10 guts or hides from the region. A 3 of spades would be 3 kilos of water. So we're doing pretty well here. We have 3 of spades, so we have 3 kilos of water that we have to boil up at some point. Right now there's a big storm and we need to figure out how to get to shelter. So we're going to probably plow through this region. See, I think where we left off here, we are about to head into Desolation Point. No, we're already in Desolation Point. We're at the mine here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut all the way through the mine to the other side. So we left our hides here from last time. We also... Okay, we're good. We don't have a... Try to get our weight down a little bit. You know what? I'm just going to drop all these because we're going to pick up new coal. Same with this. And I think part of why we are so slow right now is... wait a sec, what is up with this? It's a baby locker. What happened to this locker? It's a tiny locker. Oh, it's so cute. Yeah, it's not what we're looking for. Baby locker. That's pretty funny. Definitely a new bug. I have not seen that before. So, hope everyone's doing well tonight. I never know who to expect on these Saturday night streams. Sometimes we pick up a lot of people, sometimes no one shows up for the first little bit and then someone raids us. Sometimes no one's here. It's what it is what it is. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot the last couple weeks about what constitutes social activity. So I'm doing a master's in library and information science, and we study information behaviors and which includes like how people interact online in game settings. I did like some papers on that. some research on that. And one of the things they talk about is parasocial relationships, which is when we're watching people stream. We build these communities around streamers, and we have this relationship with people that we see, that we watch. And sometimes we assume like a closer friendship. And sometimes it goes both ways, in which like it does feel comforting and comfortable to have like a regular community to return to. But on some level, we still really don't know each other, right? It's like you get a version of me that's on stream, which is a slice of my life, and the way that I kind of project myself out there on stream. And don't really have too much that's, I'd say it's not like I'm radically different off stream, but it's just one aspect of my life. And I interact with you, and I get a portion of your life that, your personality as it gets carried over. That's a lot of coal for one piece of coal. A portion of who you are. And, but it does kind of remind us how valuable it is to have real, like in-person connections with people. And so
carry this load for much longer.
I was thinking about how challenging that is as you get older to have those type of storm has let up. So have those type of to meet people, to have, I was thinking about the term I was looking for was activity partners. People that you hang out with and do things together. That basically they're friends that you would hang out with. And for a lot of people, their circle of friends are either thrust upon them by their work or their school situations. These are people that you got to know in the first few months, and then you tend to spend a lot of time with. Or they're people that you grew up with, and so you have this long bond that exists. But if you have neither of those, what then? And there's a bear way out there. So my roommate benefits from being in the sciences for their PhD. And it seems like I had another roommate who is in physics, and I am noticing that the science people tend to work really hard, and then they play really hard, and they do everything together. And in the humanities, oftentimes we will have for a PhD, you have first couple of years where you're in courses together, and then you're off on your own, doing your own independent research, or you're teaching classes, and you don't socialize with other people who are in your cohort.
I'll take it.
For the most part, it doesn't happen near as often. If you have, because you're not in a class anymore, so there's no after class you get together to do something, go grab a drink somewhere or hang out at the pub or whatever it is. There's no guarantee you're on campus at the same time, so you just don't socialize in the same way. It takes extra effort to create those social opportunities, and you're burned out and tired, doing your PhD, so you just don't do it, or it's harder to do. And sometimes you live with someone else that, kind of facilitates that, allows you, maybe they have more energy and momentum, or there's good dynamic between the two of you, and you kind of propel yourself outwards to do things together. And I think that works best if you have, even if you're not in the same program or in the same job, you're there's a way in which you are cross-pollinating. You're benefiting from each other's different social communities or work, communities, and you kind of produce sort of a, a wide variety of social experiences for each other. You know, you can throw a dinner party and have people come from both communities, right? And you could do things like that. But there's an underlying assumption that those two communities have something in common, or that, like in terms of age, they're going to be somewhat compatible. So I realize that's one of the struggles that I have, is that my roommate and I are completely different age brackets. And well, we might get along reasonably well. Pretty well, actually. I don't think our peer groups really associate with each other. Therefore, we don't usually invite each other to each other's things. Or like, or not each other, but like, yeah, I think, yeah, so there's an assumption that they might not fit in. So I think that's kind of a, I've tried to rectify that, but no, I do see it's a bit of a challenge.
This bag
Okay.
is getting too heavy to carry.
We have a bed, but what we want is a bedroll. Okay, let's get out the light. So yeah, that's why I'm a little bit jealous that my roommate is out clubbing tonight, and I'm like, I don't have anyone that I would call up to go to a dance club with. And yeah, I don't. I just don't. There's like no one that I would think of to say like, yeah, let's go to a club or let's do this. Because most of the spaces I know people from, the contexts I know people from, I don't really meet people who are interested in doing that. You know, it's like either age-wise and interest-wise, they're like not interested in, they're not physically active enough to do it, or they kind of view it as like something they did when they were young, but they've got other stuff that they're doing these days, so they don't want to do it. And you know, I think dancing was one of those things that I didn't know I enjoyed it until I was in university and discovered kind of by accident, like partway through university, that I actually do enjoy it. But I don't necessarily enjoy or am good at like country dancing, or even like I know some basic moves. I had to do, everyone at my university had to do a social dance class, so we got the rudimentary bits down, so like I can have some recollection of how to swing dance and some recollection of how to waltz and how to do a number of other dances. Not that I'm particularly good at it, but I'm not terrible.
I think I can use this.
Or matches. So I do think that. But yeah, so like in terms of that formal dance, I think I feel more anxiety in those settings, but I've gotten over a lot of that. But when it comes to like just to freely move my body on the dance floor, I actually, much to people's surprise, enjoy it quite a bit. And therefore, because people don't expect this, they don't invite me to do things. And now, It's just that I think people in my age bracket are simply not interested. They just don't have the energy levels. And there are definitely like aspects of like going to a club that I don't like. I'm not a drinker, so like much of like the boozing and alcohol exchange, you know, that culture around it, that vibe around it, I'm disconnected from. I don't get anything out of that. I'm there for music. I'm there because I like to dance. One of these days we'll find a camera, but not here. Yep. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. This not really fitting in with your own demographic, your age bracket. Okay, so it's like 53.
I'm so tired I could lay down right here.
54 and 49. Ah, so close.
This'll come in handy.
It's not much, but it's a second pair of jeans. Anyway, just thinking aloud about why I'm streaming on a Saturday night. Okay, let's see. We do need more water. We just have to do 3 kilos of water. We're going to be done in a second here. Look at that. Go fast. Fast, fast, fast. Hey, welcome in, lurkers. How are you doing? This is Babbage-nator. We are here in the long dark, currently surviving, hunting for a bedroll, and moving along our challenge. It's just you. We had like a short burst of people pop in, and then they all disappeared again. So. I don't know. I think it was me. I was talking before you joined in. I was just rambling on. Hey, Cal Bear, doing well, doing well. I mean, yeah, reasonably well. Here we are, Saturday night, hanging out on stream. My roommate is out clubbing with their lab mates from school, which I think is perfectly fine. I think it's like age appropriate for for them. I'm an old timer. Yeah, there's a tiny bit of me that feels bad that no one extended an invitation for me to join them, but no one wants the old timer along, right? So you're a programmer too. Very cool. I guess I still program. I work as a digital project specialist for the Digital Scholarship in the Arts team at UBC while I'm finishing my Master's in Library and Information Science. And I'm a former computer games programmer. So I think that's part of it, Roller. I think it's like the energy thing. And here's the thing is like that was true. The last few years my energy was kind of down, but that was partly because I was just a lot more out of shape. Now that I've been working hard on getting myself back into shape, I kind of want to, hey, Optimist, I kind of want to like be more physically active, want to, go and do stuff. I'm not really in love with like club scenes, but I do miss having like opportunities to go dancing with friends. But I feel like part of my problem is like I actually don't have a circle of friends that would go dancing. So it's like me going by myself feels really lame. And so yeah, it just yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if there's a solution here. Do I find English language difficult? I will share a funny story about that, or an interesting tidbit about that. English is my first language, but when I was young, about 3.5, 4 years old, when I was really young, we were in Saudi Arabia for several months, and then we ended up in Taiwan, where my mother's family is from. And while I was in Taiwan, when I was about 3.5, 4 years old, I switched completely over to Mandarin and forgot all my English. And then when we got back to Canada, I switched back to English and I forgot all my Mandarin. And then later on, when I was 19, I had the opportunity to spend 2 years in Taiwan and I relearned my Mandarin. So, in some sense, English is a first language and a not first language to me because I had to learn it a second time. And I kind of recovered it pretty quickly, it seems, but yeah, in a weird way, I actually had to learn it again, and Mandarin I had to learn again. Yeah, C++, Java, VB second language, French is your third, Italian maybe will work its way in. Yeah, so I think okay, so we have effectively boiled our 3 liters already. So we've already met our requirement to get out of here, but we haven't forged, so we are not leaving right away. And we do need to prepare some food for ourselves, so let's do that. I don't think we have anything else here. We have nothing else to cook. Okay, that's good. I actually used to, a number of years ago, I was in Portland, Oregon, and I had the opportunity to work in community radio, volunteer and community radio stations. So I did a little bit of radio work, and I did some podcasting work. And so I got to practice radio voice, right? So, yeah. So people always say that I have a good voice for radio. They like listening to it. But part of that is because I'm also a writer and I'm a poet. And so I have a lot of experience, being in front of crowds, reading poetry, at open mics and in other public settings. And I've done book tours and traveled, to present my poetry and to speak in front of crowds. So that, I think, definitely helps. Lately, don't get to do that as much, but hopefully soon again. I've been thinking of returning to a project that I abandoned a few years ago. I just got busy, but I used to do a YouTube series. Just optimist. Fluent in drunkenese, redneck, hillbilly, swamper, and a feet upper crust southern. Code switch. It flagged hillbilly. I think it thinks that hillbilly is a slur. This is how it is, Babbage. Yeah. Never met. Well, good old Charles Babbage said, quite famously, it's actually a quote that I use at the beginning of my second book of poetry. I really love this quote. He says, so this is Charles Babbage, the 19th century mathematician who we credit as being the computer pioneer, inventing the concept, partially building it, designing it, but never quite finishing it. And he says in the near the introduction of his On the Economy of Machines and Manufacturers, which is it was a best-selling book in England, and it's all about manufacturing and factories and looking for efficiencies and synergies between different industries, and basically conceiving of a whole ecosystem where what is the refuse or the trash from one industry is actually the fuel or the material for a different industry, and connecting them all together. And he kind of proposes the ways that this might happen, or how strategies or manufacturing processes from one industry might actually be useful in a different industry. But anyways, in the introduction, he says this. He says, if we look around the rooms we inhabit, or through those storehouses of every convenience, of every luxury that man can desire, we shall find in the history of each article of every fabric a series of failures. And so basically what he's saying is, if you look around the room, or any warehouse, or any store you walk into, every single product, every single thing you see is the product of a series of failures. Nothing ever was achieved that did not begin with failure. It was like, that's really a profound insight. And I have to say, that's also a great way to kind of remind yourself that any enterprise, any effort that you set out to do, whether it is to code something, whether it's to write a dissertation, whether it is to do some sort of detailed, complex analysis of something, or just to learn a language, any success you see at the end is the result of a series of failures, of things that didn't work out, that you learned from and moved on. So that's my tip, I think, is that my father actually taught English, second language. That was his first career. And he said that people tend to stop learning a language when they They stop learning language because they're afraid of making mistakes, or they reach a level of competence, like they're able to achieve what they need to do, and they get by. And that's the enemy of progress. Is like when they simply are content to get by, and they're not stretching themselves any further, then they stop progressing. They kind of reach a plateau. So like if you want to keep learning a language, look for opportunities to put yourself where it's uncomfortable, where you have to really struggle to communicate or to understand. So I think like watching streamers is actually good, and listening to like radio station, listening to podcasts is also good too, because people are using a more elevated, a more advanced form of English. They're putting thought into how to communicate. Okay, podcasts, yes, maybe streaming, not so much, but
Nobody needs this anymore.
streaming, you might, depending on who you're watching, it may not be that articulate or eloquent. You could sell the squeal of a pig. You've got it made. I mean, if you work in sound engineering or sound design, you probably could. You know, just... I try. It's I guess, but one of the hallmarks of this stream is that if you get me started on a topic, you know, I will kind of ramble and rant about, you know, about the topic in some way. And I've read really widely all over the place over the years. And so whatever random thing I've read will come to the surface. Me ramble? Me? Just Optimus, you know, it's... you know where it is. You know your family members. It's in the nature of being a writer and a librarian, you know. Oh, did I read the Babbage poem? No, I just read the introduction from his extended research treatise on manufacturing processes in factories in England. Which sounds a lot more boring than it actually is. It's actually really fascinating. I will read a poem. Look at all these batteries. They just put all these batteries everywhere here. If it's there actually is a poem that is tied to that. I think there's a couple poems that reference that. So you're right. We could do that. Hold on. Let's go and put Astrid to bed somewhere. You're editing a short story right now. It's for fun. Oh, you have a YouTube short story channel? How long have you been doing that? That sounds pretty cool. If you whisper that to me, I can throw it up in the chat, and other people can go and check it out. Oh, and I was saying I want to resurrect my old YouTube channel called the Hermit Poetry Series, where I choose different poems by contemporary poets, sometimes classical poets, sometimes translations, once in a while my own work. And I would just do a reading, like record myself reading it, and it wasn't like a deep dive or anything like that. It was just an opportunity to be introduced to some contemporary poetry, for the most part contemporary poetry. So I like doing that. I'm just like 3 episodes shy of like 400 episodes for that series, and I just stopped because I got busy with other stuff, and I did finish that series, and I kind of want to do at least hit the 400 Then I can say I did the 400. And if not that, then also... Oh, I thought that was like clothing. And if not that, just keep going. Maybe do some more, because I realized I kind of missed that. I'm having a struggle right now locally because it seems like all the literary events are falling on Wednesday night. And unfortunately, I have a commitment on Wednesday nights, so I don't get to go out and participate in any of those events. And this is, I think, in large measure, preventing me from making more friends that I have things in common with outside of school, right? So that's something I have been thinking about. So either I have to figure out a way to change my schedule, my Wednesday night schedule, which I'm looking into. I thought we cooked that. Oh, we cooked this one. Okay. It really doesn't like you, Optimus. I'll shoot you the link. Really? Wow, that's pretty impressive. So you're getting like 100K to 1 million views? Okay, yeah. Okay, you want the unbearable verse now and then the good poem at the end. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I was like thinking, if you want to build it up and you already have 100,000 views, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. You're like already there. HFY stands for great. Now I'm showing my age. HFY. No idea. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So we are reading. Hold on a second here. Let's get out of the passing of time section. Now move on to read terrible poetry from the past. Some of it's terrible. Some of it's just like old, like juvenilia stuff I wrote in high school or early college. Oh, you know what? I do have. Let's see, where is that? See if I can pull that up here. We have to go hunting for that. This it. Oh no, this is definitely cringeworthy. Lots of cringeworthy poems. Okay, so I found a packet of really old and cringeworthy poems. I'm going to read one of them, and do not hate me because this is really sappy and not great. I don't know. The funny thing is, I look at this and I can actually see some things that later went into better poems. So it's like I said, everything you see is the product of a history of failures. This is a, in hindsight, not particularly great poem. It was an interesting concept. I'm blathering too much. I will force you to listen to this thing, and then we will move on to better things. Contemplating Euclid begins with a reference to Euclid's Elements, Book 1, Definition 1. A point is that which has no parts or which has no magnitude. My space small against the window. I watch the frozen highway dark with ice. The snow drifts, spirits move, twisting, then fading again into whiteness. The worlds are thin, I think. My words pressed to glass, caught in the frost, waiting to thaw. I want to say there are as many silences as words or heartbeats. Tonight there are at least as many people. Two lines moving out past our car to the horizon, finally meeting. Two branches distinct from the same tree. I want to show her this, that we are of the same flesh, that we share the same heritage. Color not mattering. My heart beats yellow, my blood flows east. Even here I will be a stone, waiting for a river to come and carve me free. What in the world am I saying? This is just like, it just kind of veers off into like, what am I saying? My heart beats yellow? My blood flows east? I was like, oh, what is going on? It's like, this is me like in some early phase of like, maybe I need to write something that's more Asian American. And it just felt weird. Like now it just feels weird. And then this like, I don't know, like we are of the same flesh, that we share the same heritage. Also kind of cringe. Yeah, no, not good. Like the visual elements, the images at the beginning are not terrible, but then the poem just turns into this really horrible like car wreck. Really, it's a train crash at the end of not really wise or elegant ways of saying things. So that's a really worse and verse moment. It was a mood. It was definitely a mood. Cringes intensify. Yeah, it was like it just definitely like fell apart. Like I don't know what I was doing. And what happened to the Euclid thing at the beginning? It was like that was kind of an interesting direction. Then the end is like has nothing to do with it. I'm like, what in the world? Like if I could travel backwards in time, I'd give myself a little talking to about that poem. It's like I mean, it's definitely not the most cringy poem that I wrote. I would say probably during that time period, but it's not a great poem. The ending is not good. Um, Tales of someone bored in a classroom. Tales of someone who was infatuated with someone else and then didn't have anything to say to them, and so just wrote terrible poetry. That sounds like freshman year. Yeah, it's like. Yeah, we're not showing that to anyone. And then I read it on stream because that's the way we are. Like expose all things to all people. Yeah, I'm not cringe. Okay. Bannock. We don't even need to collect water from a toilet. We boiled our 3 kilos. We're already done with the challenge for this region. We actually don't have to preserve our 3 kilos. We just had to have done it. So we're drinking away our proof that we finished the challenge here. So we're actually already done with the challenge, but we do need to forge. So we are going to forge. Okay, so what's our current situation here? We don't have a bedroll. We have all these extras here. Let's go ahead and like harvest what we can. And you go back and read those like, oh, that was 16-year-old me. I don't know if we talked about this before, but Charles Babbage in his memoirs includes a transcript of a play he wrote about cheese. What? Why? Why, Babbage? Why were you writing these crazy things? All right, let's fix these jeans here. How do we not have any? We just tore up stuff, right? We have 14 pieces of cloth. Oh, we don't have a sewing kit. Oh, I think that's what it is. We don't have a sewing kit right now, so we can't do repairs. No, that sucks. We don't need that anymore.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Yeah, well, there is that one. There's the poem about Babbage attending the opera and then becoming more interested in the stage machinery that he was in the... Okay, so one of the things... Okay. Yeah, he was more interested in stage machinery than he was in the actual opera. Yeah. I mean, should we do the thing? Should we do that thing? That thing where we go and we, like, build a firewall and steal a bedroll from, you know, what's his name? The wolf. He's about to call him Scrappy. It's like, no, we're not Scooby-Doo.
Well, this stuff will come in handy.
Possibly. Possibly not. Why were we stuck going through there? Had fun with
I'm not gonna be
Timbies.
able to carry this load for much longer.
I would just like to find a sewing kit, right? More pills. All these pills. Astrid, you don't need to be. $500 for something you wrote over the weekend for theater class. Yeah, I mean, that's good money. I would say so. It's definitely good money. Ah. It's okay. We have a ton of... Okay. Should we go do this thing where we, go steal a bedroll if it exists? Is that a bear? Yep, that's fair. It's like,
This pack is
okay.
getting too heavy to carry.
Bear. Yeah, when I was in high school, I think I
Man, I could eat
don't think I sold any writing, but I did sell a painting. Back then, yes, at one point in time, I also did studio art. I painted acrylics and watercolors. I drew, but really my heart was more on the painting side of things than it was in drawing. And yeah, so I painted, and one of my watercolor kind of sketches, I did a watercolor that was based on an image I'd found of a boy playing a flute and like sort of a street kid playing a flute or something. I can't remember what it was, but anyways, I'd drawn it with blue crayon and then used watercolor for the rest of it, and that's clever. um, so yeah, my French teacher saw it and she bought it for I think $75, and to me that was like, whoa, that's money. I sold artwork. You know, I spent an afternoon working on this thing, and someone wanted to pay money for it. It's like, so it was like, not $500 though, not $500. All right, let's go check out this trailer, and then we're going to sneak by the bear, which is going the other way, I believe. We're taking the books because we're going to use them to start fires really, really quickly. Uh-oh. That's not going to work, is it? Wow.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
I think we sleep in here. Just sleep for an hour, see if we can...
I never thought I'd be dying from starvation.
Okay, let's gather some more firewood in preparation for our... Oh, we're not going to go anywhere, are we? I mean, I guess we could have gone straight to the Riken at this point, but it might be too late to do that.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Oh, wind died down. Sort of. Where's our bear? Can't tell. Okay. This is a big gamble,
With this much gear.
but we're hoping, really hoping. Oh, I see a wolf out there. We're really hoping that the torch doesn't go out and that we are able to find a bedroll in the cave. Otherwise, this will have been a very foolish maneuver. Yep, already trouble. Go away, go away. Go away. I mean, what are we carrying that makes him so excited? I don't think we're carrying anything. So this is probably a bad idea, but we'll try to get in and out quickly. Oh boy. I feel like these guys have like a painkiller addiction. They're like leaving painkillers everywhere. Oh, I know the problem. I'm carrying around all those saplings, which I forgot to put down. Max Payne was there. Yeah, it turns out the real downfall for Great Bear wasn't the economic collapse. Or actually, it was the economic collapse. But the economic collapse happened because of opioid addictions. Yeah. Painkillers. Okay.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
I'm going to move a little bit forward. We are going to this time remember that we have saplings to lay down. Everything's redacted. Do we hear a wolf? So far, no. But we'll stick with our plan. Oh, he's here. Oh, I should use the book. I brought the books just for this reason, to light fires.
Come on, little fire. Come on. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Come on, little fire. Wait, that didn't work.
That's annoying.
Come on, little fire. Perfect.
Just throw you in there because you wouldn't light before. Oh, we are free from the tyranny of Tinder. Not that we had much left. Okay. Which way? Let's throw on. Grab some more on our way out. Okay. Bedroll? You think we'll be lucky? Or is this going to be one of those runs where I don't see a bedroll for ages and ages and ages? Aha! Ahoy there. No corpse, but a bedroll. Mm. Yeah, we'll just go. Nothing else here. We got the bedroll. We are mobile. Problem is we really can't stay here because there is a wolf that lives here, and once the fires go out he will find his way to bite us, so there's not much we can do about that until we craft a bow. Okay, so I put an extra fire on this so that we could pull some more torches. No, we don't want this one to go out. Okay, we're out of here. Howdy.
pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Ah, we did it all before dark. Look at us. Now the real test is, can we get back to, well, I'd like to go all the way to the Riken. I don't know if that's going to happen. We might just have to settle for like making it to one of the trailers or to the Hibernia. What's over there? Dead guy? Carcass? What do we got? More over there, but it's not really the time to dally. Dilly-dally. That's a deer carcass. Wolf over there. Cut in between.
It's getting dark out here. Time to look for shelter.
Okay, moving along. Our food situation is really not that good. Okay. Let's take a quick peek out there and see if it's worth making the run, or if the bear's out there, we just won't. I don't see the bear. I think this might be worth it. There's no food. That sucks. Uh-oh. Aurora time. Not good. We chose poorly.
I can't feel my hands.
Okay.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Okay, so what do we need? We need 7, 8. We need 8. We need to drop some fuel. We need to get more fuel. How are we doing on food? We have Bannock. About it for Bannock. Okay, I think we can use the cracker boxes and the candy bars to get through this, so we'll be fine. We'll get a good night's sleep and then we'll do a big forge. Riker without the beard. Yeah, we got a roommate. More with the painkillers. See if there's any bonus food here.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
Okay. One of my favorite things to do is this. Build a fire on the deck. This is kind of the spot to do it in. Choose the landscape, exactly. This spot here is, I think, 99% windproof from almost every single direction. So you can actually have a fire going here in the middle of a blizzard and sleep on the deck. It's so weird. But, I mean, hey. I've done it so many times, just camped out here on the deck in the middle of the night.
Starting to feel.
I just need to add a piece of coal. We're not going to sleep on the deck though. What we are going to do is we're going to try to, if we're lucky, no, we don't have enough flour to do the last of the bannock, so what do we have left to make? Nothing. Okay, so this is kind of a waste. We'll just make some more water. No pancakes, we're out of flour. There's like only 10 grams left. It's not enough to make a pancake or a bannock. I guess while the lights are on, we could actually go and like break stuff down, right? Grab a torch.
This pack is getting too heavy.
Yeah,
to carry.
lights are on. Hour and 30 minutes. Probably boiled away the skillet worth of water, but hey. We'll get at least the 2 liters. Oh, it did get blown out. Oh. Or maybe we didn't have enough fire on it. I think we didn't have enough fire. Enough fuel. Oh well. Good enough. Okay, let's see how much metal do we have here. We have 14 pieces. We need more. Nope, can't do it anymore. Okay, so let's see. Let's drop these down. Okay. We just want to go and break down this one. So we are now at, let's see, 20 pieces. We want 5 and 3, 8, at least 12. 12 would give us 24. Yeah, so we should have 24 arrowheads. That should be plenty.
Come on, little fire. Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About the rest. Let's harvest this one too. Okay.
God, I
So
need anything right about now.
let's get started on the big operation here. We want the hatchet.
I think my stomach is eating itself.
Already have a hatchet. Now we want the knife. Okay, let us start work on arrowheads then.
Oh, I've never been so hungry in my life.
Okay, we got some more fuel.
I am so hungry. I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer. I'm gonna need to rest soon.
2 hours. Three hours.
My stomach feels like an empty pit.
Okay, we're all set now.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
So I think what we do is we go straight to the we need firewood? Probably. Alright, let's be honest. Do we need this many painkillers now? Astrid, you don't need all these painkillers.
I'll rest soon. I'm gonna faint.
Gonna flush all your pills. Okay, it's an intervention, Astrid. You don't need all these pills. Just because other people leave their medications around, you shouldn't pick them up and use them. It's just not right. I mean, I'm tempted. I don't know. I think it might be wise just to nap for a little bit and then go. Okay, storm's over.
I could eat anything right now.
Yeah, we keep forgetting to put the saplings down to let them cure, but here, we're here.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Don't forget our skillet. We have so many bad torches. Just learn to let go after it. Okay. Bear? No bear. Okay, we're gonna go out here. Check out the island. Hopefully we'll find a carcass that we can eat. We really should have harvested or not harvested, we should accidentally used one of the extra pieces of scrap to do that. To make another arrowhead, set of arrowheads instead of fixing our axe off. Oops. Trying to think what else I can report on. Friday night campaign is going terrifically. We added 2 people last week, so we were at 4 before the break, then 1 person graduated, so we dropped down to 3. Then we brought on 2 new people, so we're now 5, and then we had 1 more person express interest in checking out the game. But after talking to them, I realized that they are brand new to D&D, and we're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the possibility of running like a 10th level character. So we offered instead to let them observe. And so they'll join us most weeks when they're free, and they'll just kind of watch and learn. They're friends in the game right now, so they'll basically have someone to talk to about what's happening. Kind of learn sort of the mechanics of the game. About the frozen limeade concentrate the Minute Maid. Oh really, you mixed it with sparkling water and now haven't used it. Hey. Works, it works. So yeah, so campaign's going great. If you haven't been following what's been happening with my Friday night group, they end of so our last session before the holiday break, they fought a necromancer in a pocket dimension. That the necromancer had a artifact he was using to control, but the party wrested it away. In the struggle to defeat the necromancer, the artifact malfunctions, creating a rift in space and time once the necromancer is defeated. And the party then had to make strength saves to avoid being sucked into the alternate reality or the parallel plane or wherever it was. They didn't know. I didn't know either because it was the end of the session and I wasn't really thinking too far ahead. So they rolled, and I was convinced the person that was graduating was going to get fail. I don't know why I magically wished that this would be the way that things would play out. But the person that was graduating and moving away actually was the one person that made their save. And the rest of the party gets sucked through the dimension into another plane, another realm. And so then I was left with like, wow, I've got a whole new campaign coming now because they're in another world. Yeah. I don't know. So, the big reveal last week was that the new realm is actually a Weird West realm where Lovecraftian horrors have basically taken over and cut off the world from, interfere and largely cut off the world from access to the old gods. And, oh, it's a tap dancing moose up there. And so instead, so the two new players then were people that were in the new realm already. So Lovecraftian, Weird West, with drow gunslingers. That was last week's encounter. Was they having one group found the other group. One group is exploring ruins in the desert and wastelands. There's not really been discussed why there are wastelands and deserts everywhere, but basically it is. And there's definitely evidence of past civilizations buried in the sand dunes. The original party got teleported and find themselves in a chamber in one of these ruins, with a huge beam of light, descending from the sky, pointing down to that particular ruin. So the other two find the party, as they're emerging from this chamber. And one of the two people that are from the realm isn't actually from the realm. He's actually someone from the same world as the party, but 20 years earlier. At least so he believes. The truth is, we don't know so far. The party hasn't figured out if time passes differently between one world and another world. So, what was 20 years for the one guy might actually be 100, 200 years. Could be surprises in store. In any case, has some connection and speaks the same language as them. And the others, the other one, the language that he speaks is close enough, inexplicably, not explained yet, but it seems like their common and the New World's common is somehow distantly related. Enough so that you can kind of get by, but you're clearly marked as an outsider. Hey, get out of here. Go away, bot. Boot. Boot to the head. Bot be gone. Okay, bot is gone. You're watching Zen, YouTube React channels with Gen Z reacting to Gen X. Oh, you didn't see OJ out of a carton till middle school. It's true. Used to always come in cans. Yeah. Yeah, Weird West Cthulhu works great, and it also works great because one of the original party, warlock slash sorcerer, uh, you know, part of his backstory is that he has slowly been discovering that his patron is actually an eldritch horror that's in the shape of a giant crab that wants to eat the moon. Um, and that eldritch crab is actually part of the Lovecraftian gods of this world. So, nice sort of connection that way. Part one, two. Yeah, because it's there, because it's full of chocolate. White chocolate. Not as good as regular chocolate, but. So, anyways, that was the previous session. Was them uniting, deciding to. Well, we could go beast or not. We choose to eat the moon because it is hard. Hard cheddar. Old sharp cheddar. So, yeah, last time they and one of the things that happens in this world is that the powers of the nightmare lords, as they're called, is stronger at night. And so the party has to hurriedly escape out of the desert back to the town, a town which is quite affectionately called Gallow, and inexplicably singular as opposed to plural gallows. And so they go and hang out. They try to make it to Gallow before it's too late. But of course, the way back passes through a rocky pass, which is perfectly set up as an ambush choke point. And they do get jumped, of course, by gunslingers, drow gunslingers, and a drow mage. And there's a lovely battle that they had the previous session where they had to duel it out with the gunslingers and the mage, and it was looking pretty interesting, but they managed to survive. And the drow mage almost got away, and then got counterspelled when he was trying to fly, and then things went really badly for the drow mage. But you would think that having dealt with some outlaws, some bandits outside of town, that they might parlay that into some sort of good entrance into the new town when they finally got to Gallow. But that's not what happened. Oh, and then it's already dark by the time they're headed there. So one of them turns into or summons a giant scorpion as a mount, and they pile on, and the cleric slash druid turns himself into a horse, and they race back towards town, but they're racing through the desert with already dark out.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load.
And as they go, they see these tentacles rise up out of sand behind them. They're moving at 60, so they're moving really fast. So the tentacles come out where they used to be, and they see these tentacles rise up. And then because there's a desert kraken there, because I have to do weird stuff like have desert kraken, and so there's a desert kraken, and then they also have heard rumors that if you're too slow and make up too much noise, you might encounter a gigantic demonic bullet, a land shark, a gigantic one. And sure enough, there's this ripple through the ground as they're racing back, and they end up having to use a decoy to distract this bullet, this land shark, which bursts out of the ground, leaping up into the air, where it attempts to seize a hold of of what it thinks is the party, but it isn't. And they manage to get out. So they make it all the way to town. And that was like, you know, so the session basically begins with them doing that and then getting to town. I thought, okay, they should just settle into town. It should be like some nice, you know, role play opportunities. Everything should be good. It's a weird, quirky town. There's all sorts of problems here, but it should be fine, right? No, they decide that they do not want to stay in the inn, which is called the Last Call Inn. And they also don't rise to the bait to go to Lucky Lou's saloon and gambling hall, despite the fact that one of them almost took the bait on that. And instead they decide that they're going to go and find an abandoned section of town and look for an old house where they can hole up instead of paying money or getting robbed in the middle of the night. But that doesn't work so well because they're already being followed. Because they're very distinctive in their attire.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
And they wind up attracting the attention of some cultists who worship the Nightmare Lords, and one of them at least. And they end up. Let's see here, how are we doing? Still good on water. Yeah, they decide that they're going to confront the people following them. And I cannot imagine a more unfortunate series of events. Because they have this showdown, like, in an alley. And these cultists have a lot of fire spells, and at some point, I think it's the sorcerer warlock's bright idea is to use a wind wall to protect them from projectiles. But what ends up happening instead is they create a fire cyclone that takes the flames that had already started from like there was an attempt to fireball them that got counterspelled, but then a second fireball succeeded, and I rolled really well on the second fireball, and yeah.
Barely walk with this much gear.
And one of them had already been held, like there was the boss of the sort of this assassin / cultist crew. Had cast a hold person on one of the party, and then the fireball goes off, and so that one person can't make a save, right? Fails automatically in that situation. And yeah, it was kind of a mean trick, but they're level 10. They're level 10. They need mean tricks. And yeah, so there's fire going everywhere. Then the wind wall turns it into a fire cyclone because he makes it into a circle, and it just creates this vortex. And then the buildings start going on fire, and then one of the cultist casters casts immolation, and another person gets lit on fire, and luckily makes their save, otherwise it would have been a candle for the rest of the session. And yeah, and then meanwhile it's just spreading throughout the section of town, and the cultists are mostly defeated except for their boss gets away, of course, and the party now is fleeing because they hear the sound of law enforcement approaching and the fire brigade trying to put out the fire, and they think they're going to be blamed for this, which could likely happen since they're the strangers in town. And so they split up because one person volunteers to create a fake trail while the rest of the party escapes. And so the one person creating the fake trail has overlooked a very critical problem, and that is they're in plate mail. And so their stealth checks are terrible. So every time he thinks he's got himself hid, he starts seeing like the investigators right behind him, and then he has to like create a new diversion, a new escape, and Over at Troopers, yeah. So he eventually manages, with the help of the rest of the party, one of them had decided that it'd be a good idea to start spreading rumors that was the cultist fault that the fire had started. And and then so they, by the time the investigators are finally arrive at the place where this one, the party member had volunteered to kind of lead them on this wild goose chase. Um, Thinks he's going to be cornered, and then there's right when he thinks that's going to happen, they get word. There's an alarm that rings out from another part of the city over at the prison, over the jail, and it turns out that in all the commotion, someone else has taken advantage of this mess to spring a local, uh, a powerful member of one of the local gangs out of prison, out of jail. And so the investigators end up having to leave, and at this point they've become convinced that the cultists are more responsible, and they've stopped continuing their search. So the party gets off, maybe. but but they have not endeared themselves to the townsfolk. They've created massive problems. They've also reduced the available housing for an already like messed up town. So yeah, it'll be fun. There's some great reveals that I have planned for much later. The goal for them right now is they want to figure out a way to get back to their home world, which is possible, but they may have to do something about the Eldritch gods, or at least whatever magical towers or artifacts are being used to continue this interference that prevents the old gods from connecting to their world. So, and that was another mechanic I added in, which is whenever someone used a divine power or ability or spell, they had to roll on a table, and it would tell us what type of interference happened. Sometimes nothing happens, and sometimes they develop a cough that is persistent, that prevents them from being able to cast anything with a verbal component until they can make their save. And then sometimes it's some other effect, and it can be really awful, and they can, or just inconvenient. So I thought that would be kind of a fun little thing for them to weigh. And then it's also similar to like a third edition, 3.5 edition, third party setting called Midnight, which is basically set in a world where the Dark Lord wins and rules for 1,000 years, and there is no access to the other gods, and anyone who uses magic is hunted with these magic sniffing creatures by these cultists. And yeah, so that's a pretty like grim dark world, and I'm borrowing some of the ideas without making it all the way over to that. So, but anyways, the players are having a great time. It feels challenging, like the difficulty's ramped up in certain ways, and the party members, the players have for the most part chosen to build interesting characters as opposed to optimized characters. And I think that's a big reason why it's still an enjoyable campaign. I think when people build towards optimization, by level 10 you're really making it hard for the DM to run an interesting campaign. It's challenging to build encounters that are going to be fun for everyone, including the DM. Oh, okay, so what do we got? Yeah, anyway, so that's my long diversion diatribe. Do we want to eat it anyways? Yeah, we want to eat it anyways. Food poisoning? No food poisoning. We do have some porridge options now. And a soup. Okay. So tomorrow night, I'm running a new campaign. My Sunday group went on hiatus, so I'm starting a new group, and we're doing one where it's set with everyone is running a retired elderly adventurer who used to be a great hero, or noble, or sage, or even villain of the realm, but that was a long time ago, and they've settled into a retirement community, have largely forgotten everything they once knew, even though they talk a lot about their glory days. And so they started off as level 3, but sometimes they can channel their former glory. There's a role for this, a table for this, and they can try to do something like amazing that really borrows from, a past ability that they had, or a past strength that they had, and achieve something great. So there's a little bit of that going on, a little custom thing going on with that. And at the start of that campaign, basically, they have all, for various reasons, found themselves no longer welcome at their retirement community, pushed out, and needing to find some new work and a new place in the world. And I will have something a little bit more concrete for them to do, some rumors to follow up on. But they do need to figure out how to get themselves back into the good graces of their former retirement community if they want to return, or maybe it's time for them to actually do something. Maybe sitting around waiting to die is not fun. So that's the new campaign. Yeah, it's almost time. We're at the 2-hour mark. I'm still pretty alert. I could go on for a little bit longer. My roommate, like I said, is out at a club, dancing with their lab mates, and so it's not like I'm keeping anyone else up. Like my voice is not carrying through the walls, disturbing their sleep. But they usually wear headphones, so they don't have to listen to me all the time. So, yeah. So I'm not keeping anyone up, and I'm not too tired yet. So we might go for a little bit longer. Yeah. No, we don't need to go that long. Let's see. Is there anything we need to craft? I keep forgetting that we've got this stuff to... It's too late, but we'll put it down anyways. Is it daytime yet? It's not daytime yet. Okay. We definitely need to get some more scrap metal and more torches. Ooh. I don't know if this is going to make any difference. Yeah, we're too high level for this to make a difference. Whereas this one make a little bit, well, make a difference.
Can you eat trees? Because I'm gonna. I'm gonna eat a tree. Oh, I'm starving.
Okay, we need torches. Let's get some torches.
Damn it. I'm so hungry.
Okay, what do we want? We want porridge. Okay, 1, 2. So my roommate said they're going to be out late. The club doesn't close until 3 o'clock. They probably won't be out until 3 o'clock, but I think that they might, that their friends might want to go and get something to eat afterwards and then head back. So I never know, right? But really, I don't. My roommate is like a lot younger than me, and so definitely has more energy. So I think maybe getting back at 2 o'clock is a possibility. I don't think they're going to be out until like 4 a.m. No, I don't think that will happen. I think they'll get back around 2. If something happens and it stops being fun, which I don't think that will happen. She's with some good people, but
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much.
yeah, there's a chance that they'll yeah. Also depends what they want to do tomorrow. Sleep in, I think. They did night skiing earlier or on Friday, so I think and today slept in partly. And then you worked until midnight. You could stay out until 3. I took a nap earlier today, so I think that's part of the reason why I'm actually still fine. Like this would be me if I were to be out there like at a club. I could do it if I had a nap earlier in the day, and if I didn't have to be up early the next day. For me, though, I do have to be up pretty early tomorrow. My church services start at 9 o'clock. Now, they're just a short drive away from where I live, so I don't have that far to go for going to church. But I've been pretty consistent with or not pretty consistent, I have been consistent. I've stuck with every morning I'm up at 6 or 6:30 to exercise for 20 minutes. And that's just been my routine since August, because I've been trying to address the fact that I'm getting older, and I'm trying to avoid diabetes. I'm trying to get my blood pressure under control, trying to really manage my health better and get my weight back to something that I'm comfortable with. And so I've been able to like slowly, get my weight down, but a long ways to go still before I get to where I want to be, but I'm like definitely at a healthier place than I was like over the summer, when I kind of just was not taking good care of myself. But yeah, I do think that, I don't think I could consistently be up until 3 o'clock. If that was the plan, to be out until 3, I'd say no. I just can't do it. I can't do it. It's just too big of a cost the next day. I'm just too wiped out. If it's to be up until like 2, even like I can almost manage 2 without too much of an issue. I can definitely go until 1 a.m. without any issue. I've done that plenty of times.
Did I say I hate being cold?
But
Is it really?
My days of being up and out, past 3 a.m., it's not happening for me anymore. I can't do it. All-nighters, thing of the past. Can't do those anymore. Yeah, that's that's the balancing act, right? Like, uh-oh. Someone's growling.
It's goddamn freezing.
Oh, there you are. Can't see me? Go away, go away, go away. We're gonna eat well tonight. Yeah, I think that's the other thing. I think, like, as you get older, you have a different set of priorities. I was trying to tell that. I don't think my roommates really... Intellectually, I think they understand. I think the desire to fit in and kind of go with the group
work?
Is such that even though intellectually they understand that they don't need to drink or don't need to drink as much to fit in, they do get caught up sometimes and then come back and then, they don't usually get hungover. European, German, Hungarian, not usually the issue, but yeah, there is definitely, a little bit of regret about like having drunk too much. And I keep telling them, it's like, look, when you're in your 20s, your body might be able to recover from this. You know, you probably bounce back from stuff like this, but it's not good in the long run. You know. And more importantly, I'd say, is like just be cautious about the way that alcohol plays a role in your relationships with people, right? It's like, if it's the only means by which any sort of communication or connection is happening, that's not healthy, right? Like, yeah, I get it. Some people, it's socially or culturally, something that they do. That's not what I do, but I think, like, when it becomes out of moderation and it goes into something else, then when you feel pressured to drink to be part of the community, then I feel like that's a problem. And if it's people that you're trying to have meaningful relationships with, right? Like someone you're interested in, right? That type of thing. Then definitely, I think, like, you've got to get to know them when there's no alcohol involved. Even if, like, alcohol plays a role in how you get to know them initially, you can't have a dependency on it, and the other person definitely can't have a dependency on that being the means that they have the courage to talk to you. So, or they become convinced that you only like them when they're a certain way, right? So. Yeah. Yeah, this wolf left us a nice big deer. This is nice. Let's start using the knife now. But I'm also surprised, I think, too, by the number of people who are unaware. It's going to sound like I'm just preaching right now, but unaware of, like, sort of the long-term health problems associated. Like, a lot of people my age have quit drinking because of the impact it's had on their health, like, in the long term. And, I guess that doesn't sink in for people in their 20s. I guess not, but it's like no one talks about the fact that, like, alcohol is a carcinogen. It's like, yeah, that's just weird to me. Society and their legal poisons, right? So. Why do we have the gun out? What are we planning on here? Yeah, on some level, it's like, I just say, at the end of the day, everyone's responsible for their own decisions, right? I do like people to be informed, but, and there is a part of me that's just protective when, like, you get along well with someone, you like them, you want them to be happy. You can't make their decisions for them. I don't have like rules in the apartment and say like if you're living here as my roommate, you have to like do this or that. You know, I'm not like opposing or expecting any particular, you know, behavior. Other than whatever we agree upon as our ground rules for how this apartment works. You know, and if we're both comfortable with certain ground rules, then we just kind of that's the rules for our apartment. That's what makes it a safe place for both of us. But there are other things that are ultimately personal decisions, and I can't, you know, dictate, you know, on that. I might choose something different, but that's not for me to impose. Oops. All this animal fat. I don't know all this animal fat. All this high cholesterol animal fat. Yeah, I mean, it's really. I mean, our rules are very simple. We just. One is that this apartment's a no judgment zone. It's like. You come back here and. You know, it's like you're just accepted. Regardless what happened outside, regardless what happened inside, you're accepted here. And if you don't feel like talking about what happened, then it's fine. If you need to vent, then that's fine too. But then I think the other thing is like it is a small apartment and our walls are thin. So it's like we also have, just out of respect, like the no overnight guest rule. So it's like, which I think they're fine with too. That's kind of, they're fairly conservative in some things. So. And in a sense, that rule is actually from our landlord, you know, because they're above us. So, well, although there's a fair bit of sound insulation, it's not perfect. So. And I think the other stuff is just mainly like keep the place clean. You know, we don't have a chore wheel or anything like that, but we generally have like agreed like the types of things that we're good at taking care of, and we try to keep the kitchen space and the food prep spaces clean, get all the dishes done as soon as possible, keep the sink empty, you know, clear the floors, clean the bathroom on a regular basis. Yeah, that type of stuff. That's nice. I mean, I do enjoy it. It's just, I've lived with other people who are not as attentive and not as like willing to do like an equal share. So much animal fat here. Go away. So much animal fat. Look at all that fat. Alright. What do we got here? Okay. Oh, it is getting late. Hey, welcome in, Savage Garter. The raid, welcome in, Raiders. Let's throw in a shout out to our Raiders. What have you been up to? Long Dark, welcome in, fellow Long Dark people. Oh yeah, I do need to do, yeah, when we get to the wrap up, which will be probably in a few minutes, not yet. Let's see, here we go, bio. Okay, so I am Babbaginator. I am a TLD streamer. I'm also a writer, author of 2 books of poetry, also former computer games programmer, also creative writing coach, also back in school doing a library science degree, master's, and yeah, currently in Vancouver, BC. Okay, yeah, take care of yourself. Don't worry about that. We're just cooking up a deer that we stole from a wolf, and so just doing that. You can see he's unhappy about this situation. Go away, go away. Gonna come back? What does he want? Where are you coming from? Oh, he's go chasing someone else over there. Gave up on us. That's okay. We're gonna just chow down here. Best way to move meat is in your belly. Someone coming back? Those wolves are going all over the place now. They didn't used to go up there. Interesting. You know, if we were playing NetHack, we just throw meat at the dog and then it would become our pet. It's not how it works. Not how it works in Long Dark. Why are they hanging out over here? Climate change. Push them all the way over here. Point 5. Yeah, it's weird. Some of the dogs blink. Yeah. Go away, buddy. Don't bother us. Go. There we go. Okay. Let's see. We didn't get the hide or the guts off of this guy. That's okay. We'll come back for the meat later. Okay, we're gonna check out here, which should have a little bit of food. And probably another deer carcass. But I think the big advantage of taking some meat with us is that we're going to need it because we don't know what we're going to get in Crumbling Highway. Oh, you need to go nap soon. Well, yeah, we'll, why don't we wrap up here soon too, because it is getting close to my bedtime as well. So we're just going to check out here in the Katie's secluded corner. So many saplings. We probably won't need all these saplings. Don't need that. We need feathers. That's what we need. So many saplings. Okay, where's our feathers? Anywhere? Nowhere. We'll get our meat in the morning. Next stream. Which will probably be Tuesday. Because I'm running D&D on Sunday night, tomorrow night. And then I have a meeting on Monday that I don't know when it's going to finish up. I think we can steal the meat right now. The wolves seem to be gone for now. Ah, okay. Come on. You can climb. Climb over. Climb over. I see you. Go away. Not taking everything, but
I need to find some place to escape this cold.
it would be really nice to have a travois right now, but alas, we don't. I think we're gonna go up. Yeah, we should go this way. Interesting. Okay.
Feels like night is coming.
This slow process home. Yeah. So if you're new to this, we're doing this challenge called Luck of the Draw, which is every time we enter a new region, we pull a card from a deck and it tells us what the nature of the challenge in the region is going to be. So the suits are the type of challenge. So the hearts are equal to meat, kilograms of meat that we have to harvest. Clubs are equal to hides and guts harvested. Diamonds are days, and spades are water. Let's dump our meat out here.
If I don't...
We do have a bedroll finally, so we can really take a rest here. Okay, we are fed. We should have made some more water, but we didn't. Okay. Let's drop everything else that needs to be dropped. Okay. So one thing... Oh, it's already too late. Don't worry about it. Okay, here we go. So we'll put Astrid to sleep, and then we will wrap up our stream with our our tradition. Our tradition is we close every stream with me reading a poem, which we randomly choose out of my previous publications, and usually from one of my books, but sometimes from published but not collected work. So, which is to say, work that's been published in journals but not been collected together in a new manuscript that's been published.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
This one's specifically Babbage related. Yes, there was a request for that. Okay, so... Okay, this is where we save. We are officially on day 26. Wow, we've been busy tonight. Start off on day 21. And now we're on day 26. Okay. And so we're ready to go, basically, at this point. Day 26. 3 kilos, 3... That was an easy one. Day 26, we are going to be heading out. And we'll draw a new card when we get to Crumbling Highway. Oh yeah, we're already saved. Okay, so we're good. We're going to read something. And I think we already had a request. I think it's going to be something that references the quote that I read from Babbage at the beginning. We're going to read something that connects to that. So this is from my second book of poetry, Babbage's Dream, published by Sundress Publications in 2017. And let us see what's going to work here. Okay, this is Babbage at his desk, enumerating the known world. with reference to design, partially built but never finished, what would have been the very separation of tasks in which we have a CPU, we have short-term memory or registers, and we have random access memory or long-term memory storage, and then we also have an output that prints. All that and how it handles certain types of calculations using sort of an expansion, a functional expansion that relies on addition and subtraction for rapid calculation as opposed to multiplication or other more complicated procedures. All that was solved by Babbage in the 19th century, in like the 1830s. So he was way ahead of his time. And that was part of his problem. No one really understood what he was trying to build, and they couldn't really see the context of it. And there was a handful of people that caught on to what he was doing. But at the end of the day, he lost his funding. He was basically reduced down to someone who could plan and design, but never actually see the final outcome of what he was doing. And yet he was convinced. To his dying day, he was convinced. And he writes in his memoir that some future generation will prove me right. So the reference we read at the beginning of this stream was actually a quote about Babbage when he was conducting this detailed study of different manufacturing processes and factories and looking for connections and ways to leverage one industry into the other. He writes all about this in a book called On Machines and Manufacturers. On Machines and Manufacturers. And which is really, really exciting book. It was actually a bestseller, and it actually inspired Marx and Engels to write Das Kapital. In the 19th century, a best-selling book could be all about economy and all about manufacturing process. So, go figure. Babbage at his desk, enumerating the known world. From here you lay bare the world, table after table, column after column, each thing known and numbered, counted like sparrows in their open graves, the heartbeats of pigs, the staggered breathing of cattle in low country fields, each significant, a sign, a signature, the quantity of ink spread on the printer's block, silk threads, caterpillars, calico scarves, and handkerchiefs. The number of stones or red bricks thrown by drunken men at your windows, the strokes of a loom operated by a man or a machine, the cards in their pockets, the holes in the cards, the burden of ships in the harbors, the length of chain assembled by one worker in the day, the volume of water and wine carried downriver or through pipes to the city, every number a thing, everything a number. So that was, this was actually part of a longer poem that I broke into two halves that was called Enumeration. And, you know, a lot of the references here, like in terms of length of chain assembled by a worker in the day, the volume of water or wine carried down river or through pipes in the city, all these were like things that he tallied up, he calculated. He calculated heartbeats of pigs, of all things. And he calculated, you know, he even had tables for like the number of things thrown through his warehouse window. It's like, because some of his neighbors didn't like him. And all these type of things. He tallies up and he includes. Sometimes kind of tongue-in-cheek includes, and sometimes he includes because it really is of interest to him. There's a reference here too to the you know, the loom operated by man or machine. This is the time period where Babbage is taking inspiration from the Jacquard loom, which was a card-operated automatic loom. You would give it a pattern punched out in the card, and the loom would use the holes in the card to be able to figure out what the pattern was that was supposed to weave. And Babbage looked at that and said, that is a data storage. That is something you could do more than store a pattern. You could store information. And whether that information is a value, or it is an address, or it's an instruction. It's all information and can be stored on the holes, like in a sequence of holes on a card. So punch cards are older than the digital computer. And the idea of using them as data storage for an actual computing device is older than the computer, which is wild. And that's a credit to Charles Babbage for coming up with that idea. So, and that's Babbage at his desk, enumerating the known world. Okay, so that is, I think, one of the poems. I think there's another one that ties into that, but we might save that for another night. Yeah, there's a more complicated one that runs in 2 columns that has like a passage directly of his words, and then there's a second, there's a response or comments that like expand or transform his lines. So you could either read just his words, or you could read my words in a separate column, or you could read them across and they become their own new poem in that way. But to do that one, usually I actually have to display it on the screen so you can follow along, because it really ends up being 3 separate poems, or I guess 1 quote and 2 poems. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We are going to find someone to raid. Let's see. Let's look up our Twitch community for TLD and see who is up right now. Lexi, Slid Holmes. Lexi's in story mode. Slid Holmes is doing Loper, 114 days so far. Slid Holmes is really talented, but is a no mic. I don't know. Does anyone have any votes here for who we could go visit? Can I just pick someone? Okay, so just pick someone. Okay, I think we're going to drop in on Lexi. Okay, so go visit Lexi. Oh no, Lexi is wrapping up. Okay, we have to find someone else to raid. Okay, so that was definitely end of their stream. Then I think we're looking at Slid Holmes. Guess we're going to Slid Holmes. Okay, so let's get this going then. It's always so complicated end of stream, finding someone to rate. So we'll get this set up. We're visiting Slid Holmes, really talented streamer, really great TLD player. Someplace where we can learn a lot. I can hear the sounds of Aurora, so this will be high stakes. Lots of excitement here. Crunching of snow. I think we are in for adventurous travel in the middle of an aurora. Okay. And there's no mic, so no way to hear him scream. Okay. Okay, let's head on over. Thank you all. We will be back again, as said, for certain on Tuesday. We might show up on Monday. We'll see. Okay, take care. Good night all.